still on the line, Dindo? Are you
Yes,
still
Pia.
there, or have you also gone off the air?
No, I
Ayun, you're
still
still
on the
there.
air with
Okay.
you.
Oh, I'm sure you were listening. Oh, I'm very
Yes,
interesting, no, the way Secretary Guevara explains it, no. So you have on the one hand, it is the law, dura lex sed lex, but at the same time, meron ding view na kung merong gap or insufficiency in the law, there can be considerations. I forgot the exact word that he used, no. Pero pwedeng, in other words, siguro, yung parang pwedeng pagbigyan, no.
yes.
How do you look at this, Dindo?
I think Secretary Guevara was consistent with the position that he took when this was publicly discussed, deliberated in both houses of Congress. No? And at that time, I think members of Congress asked the NTC if they subscribed to that argument of the DOJ, and they said yes in those proceedings. But suddenly, at this time, Congress just coming back from a recess, and we are in this pandemic. Suddenly, NTC uses the hard interpretation of the law. I think that's the point of Secretary Guevara. There is that it's within the powers of NTC to have that very strong interpretation of the law, or dura lex sed lex, as he called it. But he also mentioned equitable consideration on fairness at this time. No, then NTC should have made that position when they were in both houses of Congress. So you really, I mean, a person knowing of those proceedings, hearing those statements of NTC, and suddenly seeing this action, it really makes a question: why act this way now, when you were being asked to make a stand last March, and your stand was totally different?
Okay.
No?
So in other words, if they had been, in other words, Dindo, if they had been consistent from the very beginning, lalo na nung humarap sila sa Kongreso,
Yes.
sa House of Representatives at sa Senado, kung ganoon din sana yung nauna na nilang mga pahayag doon sa harap ng Kongreso mismo. Tapos ito yung magiging action taken nila as of today, May 5, edi okay na sana, parang ganon. And in the meantime, Dindo, I just wanted to say that we're showing the on-air, we are showing ABS-CBN live, and like we did say a while ago, we were told that ABS-CBN President and CEO Carlo Katigbak is going to be making a statement on a TV patrol any moment now. That is what we are waiting for. We are monitoring that situation. That isn't happening at this moment, but we will bring that to you live when that happens. Dindo, I'm sorry I interrupted you again. Please go ahead.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's really the consistency of NTC even in a public proceedings, unlike the Senate and the House. So again, it's something that we cannot really read or understand what transpired, because they were asked these questions and they were maybe not giving a definite answer, but still were saying that they can grant provisional authority. So those are things that we all listened to, monitored during those hearings. So it's really quite sad that we are at this situation right now in this pandemic, when you need all media networks helping in the information drive of government in dealing with the bigger challenge of that Philippine society is facing at this time.
Dindo, while you are still with us on our air, I wanted to read a statement from Congressman Lito Atienza, and perhaps you can share your thoughts on this. I'm going to read this. It's a 3-paragraph. This act of NTC is, quote, in complete defiance of the House of Representatives and the Senate. This is definitely a case of bad timing in closing down one of the more, if not the most, effective channels of communication and accurate information, especially in this time of a national health crisis. We again urge Speaker Cayetano to immediately act on this problem. Congress should be ready to vote on this issue, it being the only body authorized to act on this crucial matter. Dindo, how would you respond to this? And this is something that other congressmen have said in the last hour or so, no, na
of course,
they want Congress to take action.
Of course, Congress can cure the situation by moving to pass a franchise bill that can be forwarded to the Senate, and maybe ABS-CBN will go off there for a few days, but can go back after it's signed into law. That's basically what Congressman Lito Atienza is saying, that they should take action, and their action can move to actions by the Senate that will lead to a franchise law to ABS-CBN. But it also tells us also of that this crisis, that institutions within our society right now are having different interpretation of the franchise of ABS-CBN. Legislature sees it differently. They see the sole authority on their part, that they have not rejected ABS-CBN. They believe that there's a continuation of the franchise until they reject or approve. That's their interpretation. But NTC sees it differently, that there's no franchise, it lapsed.
Yeah. Again, Dindo, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to read another reaction from another senator, this time from Senator Risa Ontiveros, and I quote, "Sa gitna ng krisis ay pinapatigil ang operasyon ng ABS-CBN sa panahong napakalagang maihatid ang mga impormasyon na dapat malaman ng publiko tungkol sa COVID-19 at sa mga programang makatutulong sa kanila. Samantalang ang mga POGO pilit binuksan kahit na hindi naman essential industry, bilyong-bilyong tax ang hindi pa binabayaran at nasa gitna ng maraming krimen. Wala sa tamang timing ang cease and desist order na ito ng NTC. And further, that statement from Senator Risa Ontiveros, this last paragraph, quote, "Ang pagsasara ng ABS-CBN ay pagkakait sa publiko ng tama at napapanahong impormasyon na malaga sa pagtugon sa COVID-19. Dindo, reaction from you to that?
Of course, it's really surprising that we are faced with this situation. A big TV network helping not only in sharing information or communicating what's happening during this pandemic, but also doing its part as good corporate citizen. And aside from that, a taxpayer, I think that's the point of Senator Risa, a taxpayer during the time that you need all the taxes for all the expenditures of government. Diba, nabanggit nung Senate hearing about the big tax being paid by ABS-CBN as a corporation, and maybe not even including the taxes by the individuals within their network. So that means a good partner of ABS-CBN could have been or was a good partner of government during this pandemic, with their interventions and their own social programs and their own communications, daily hosting government. If you've noticed, hosting government with their live updates. And suddenly, here we are. Government wants them to close. So you ask yourself, is this one part of government saying something, the other part of government engaging ABS-CBN? So it's really confusing at this time when we need the whole of society. What do we mean by a whole of society? We need to work together, harness all groups within society to work towards addressing this pandemic. And here we are, becoming very political, maybe legal, there's a legal basis, but still, merong that statement by DOJ Secretary, something that you hope that NTC can take note of. But there is that gray area that could have been used to keep ABS-CBN on air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dindo, the entire 1.5 hours since we've been on air, what time is it about? Okay, 7:26. And before that, around 5 o'clock, when news first broke about this cease and desist order of the NTC, we've been trying to contact House Speaker Alan Cayetano. Given what he's already been saying all this time and not saying all this time about ABS-CBN and its operations, what do you think would be going through his mind right now?
I lost you, Pia, on your last sentence. Sorry.
Yeah, what do you think would be going through Speaker Alan Cayetano's mind right now? He's not issuing any statements. Yes. We can't reach him. Of course, because we want to know what's going to happen doon sa bakuran ng Kongreso. Kasi, some people are saying, bigyan na natin ng prangkisa yan. Or at least, at the very least, dinggin na natin, sinasabi ng ibang kongresista, dinggin na natin yung prangkisa ng ABS-CBN, tapos magbotohan na tayo para malaman natin kung meron ba o walang prangkisa ang ABS.
That really puts pressure on the leadership of the House, who, when they came back to session yesterday, had other priorities, which is priorities related to this pandemic. So it's really challenging for the Speaker at this time that he knew what he needed to do, given the realities of social distancing and getting Congress to act, and suddenly you're being pressured to move faster. So I think they need to also assess the defiance that NTC did, because they had oversight powers over NTC. NTC spoke in Congress and promised that they will be given provisional authority, ABS-CBN, and they defied what they stated in Congress. So maybe they can make NTC accountable for reneging on those statements during a sworn, because, remember, congressional hearings are sworn, public officials are sworn during congressional hearings. So when the NTC acts differently, it's something that Congress, it challenges Congress to make those people accountable also.
Final words, Dindo?
It's quite sad, as I've said, that we are in this pandemic. There are bigger challenges, and you need the whole of Philippine society to work together. Media plays an important role as a source of information, but more than that, the ABS-CBN, and I think the owners of ABS-CBN has been good corporate citizens with the support that they've given to different social interventions during this time. So we need the country, instead to be divided, to work together collectively and address this pandemic. Maybe we can set this aside, and NTC interprets the franchise law in a more liberal manner, as being mentioned by Secretary Guevara.
All right. Political analyst Dindo Manhit, thank you very much for taking our call, Dindo. Maraming salamat.